All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Shalom, shalom, Sister Deborah, prophetess in the wilderness. And you know what? That's all right with me. Coming again on this devil platform with another message. And I will say this is going to be a short one, okay? I will be coming 8 p.m. Central Time. Live, but not live as wanting to hear anyone's words, okay? Because a lot of times I realize people are quick to speak and not to hear. And when they are like that, they can't hear what God said the Most High is saying. And I have experienced something this morning that was off the chain. It was off the chain. And if I had not had an ear to hear, then I would not have heard what the Most High was saying unto me. Because I had blocked it with one understanding. I had sat down, went into it, and began to form it around me. And the Most High said, bam, and there it was. Everything went chaos. Went all over the place. It bagged me up to stop my thought pattern, okay? And to hear what the Spirit of the Most High was saying to me. Why did I have to hear then? Because the whole cup of coffee had spilled over all my paperwork, all the Bibles, the bills, all over the chairs, all over the kitchen floor. It was off the chain. I was like, what? Wait a minute. How did this happen? Because in me, I was like, something going on here. An instant when I said that to myself, I began to see and hear what God said the Most High was saying. I was lying down and I had awakened. And He's put a word in my spirit, and it was offended. So I said, when I get up, I'm going to go into a study on offended. But the moment I went into the offended and I pulled it up in the Hebrew, I began to see that it was saying, don't put a stumbling block before one to cause one to sin. And instant, I took it as, oh, you're trying to tell me something. You're talking to me. I said, okay, well, maybe I did put something in front of somebody. And if it was speaking spirit and truth of the matter of the way I understood it and understand it, then yeah, maybe I did put a stumbling block of truth before the individual and could cause one to stumble in their weakest of their weakest. Okay. And where is that? In their emotions and in their feelings, in their flesh, they stumble. So he was beginning to, I'm listening to him, I said, well, I have been found in error, Father Ahia. And he said to me, Deborah, pull the verses out. And he said, while you getting offended, go into offense as well. The offense. While you poured out offended, I want you to go into offense. So I began to getting ready to do that, and all of a sudden the coffee went all over the place. All over. I mean, it took me, about 35 minutes to clean all that stuff. It was all over. I had to even mop. That's just how bad it was. And when I was done, I had everything he wanted me. He wanted me to understand. I had everything he wanted me to understand. He just wanted me to bag it up. Just because I gave you the word offended, don't mean you take that word and be offended by it. That's what he was saying. Now you're getting offended by it because you're applying it to you as something you did. He said, I'm not saying that to you, Deborah. That's why I need you to go up under a study. And let me tell y'all something. The Father told me to go into offense, and I pulled that out. And before I could do my study on offended and offense, he brought this man before me. And I listened to this man, and he taught that thing. I said, Father, yeah, I thank you. I thank you. praise you because he brought righteousness in the midst of both of those words and said it right before me. He said to me too, when I was cleaning up, y'all, when I was mopping that stuff, he said, Deborah, didn't I tell you was in the right lane? He said, didn't I tell you was in the right lane? So what do you think that means when I tell you you're running in the right lane? What does that mean? Didn't I tell you don't look on your left and your right? How many times have I warned you, Deborah, not to look on your left and your right? Because on your left and your right will be those who feel offended by who you are running in the center of the lane, in your lane. They're going to be offended because you're running in your lane and they not. So don't look on your left and your right to be justified, clarified, and identify who you are in me. I told you time after time, stay in your lane, Deborah. Don't look to your left, don't look to your right. Don't be caught up with those on your left and your right. The Most High broke that thing down to me. I was like, oh, I finished cleaning up and I was so eager to get back to the word. And as I enter into the word, the Most High birthed that thing in me. I mean, he laid it out. And even laying it out in righteousness would offend every last one of y'all on this devil platform. Even with a higher given me will offend everybody on this devil platform. And that's why I got to come back. I'm thinking maybe 7 p.m. Central, maybe 8. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go live and I'm going to put it out the way the Spirit has suffered me to put it out to a people. He said, because I told you, the mind is gone, Deborah. These people's minds are gone. And you've sitting here showing the example that they are far distance from what is spirit and truth. They will join together against you. But yet have many times and throughout the year have called you truth, spirit and truth. You speak in spirit and truth, spirit and truth, and spirit and truth. But because you said something to offend them, they let their feelings and their emotions identify who they truly serve. Isn't that deep? So I say unto you, you all need to go into a deep repentance. Because Sister Deborah gonna tell the truth of the matter of why she put that topic out. And just because of that topic, you are offended. Just like Yeshua. Yeshua said, what did he do? I'm gonna give you a sneak peek. What did Yeshua do? Yeshua was telling God with his disciples. He began to tell them that his hour were near, and what is going to befall him, what is going to get ready to happen to him. Now this is Yeshua telling the 12 disciples. And instant, the head man, who is that? Peter. Instant, he got offended. But before he got offended, Yeshua had said, you all will be offended by, in a sense, what I'm about to say. See, Yeshua already know. Why? Because heaven had already orchestrated in him that they're going to get offended by what you're going to say. What was Yeshua saying? Spirit and truth. He was saying the truth of the matter, how his Father has orchestrated for him to go in an hour and die on Calvary. And Peter got offended. And then he said also, Peter mentioned the other disciples, but as the Bible said, Peter got offended. Peter got offended. What did Peter get offended by? Let's say he got offended by what Yeshua had said. No. Because it wasn't so much about what Yeshua had said. Hallelujah. Father Yah, in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Oh, Father Yah, thank you. Father Yah. The 12 disciples didn't get offended to the point of being offended by the words in which Yeshua had spoken. It was about the power of righteousness that is stood in. Because these was not Yeshua's words. These were the Father's power of his will that Yeshua was speaking. It was orchestrated by the Father. In a sense, Yeshua could say to you all now, no, wait a minute. What I was saying to them is what the Father had given to me. What I was saying to them was the word of my Father and the will of my Father and the predestined of my Father. That's what he would say to you all. He would tell you all those weren't his words. Those words the will of his Father. He would turn you and identify that. So we that are true servants of the Most High, no matter what we say, you're going to get offended. Because we all, even Sister Deborah, find ourselves offended. Why? Because we got flesh standing in the way with emotions, feelings, and personal opinion. And we're going to always allow those things, those three, along with our flesh, to stand in the way of anything that is spoken that could be righteous. So I, Sister Deborah, say unto you, either 7 p.m. Central or 8 p.m. Central, I will be live. And I tell you, I'm going to tell you where the message come from. See, that's what Yeshua was saying. He was telling them what was going to happen to him based on what the Father had put in him before he even came down to the earth. And they got offended. But before they got offended, what did Yeshua say? You're going to be offended. You are going to be offended. See, he already knew they was going to be offended. Why? Because righteous truth is going to be spoken and you're going to be offended by it. And were they not? Yes, they were. And who was the first one? The ace, Peter. Don't. And this is why he had to rebuke Peter. Not only did he have to rebuke him, he had to put a curse on him to show them, don't cross my Father's word. My Father, don't cross his word. So when you run around here thinking you are spilling words against Sister Deborah, or you're trying to crank up a spirit of emotions and feelings and personal opinions, every time you shoot something up, Ahia got his word that still we're going to continue to offend you, because you're offended by the word of God, not the Sister Deborah and what Sister Deborah is saying. Stumbling blocks is for those who are already fallen. Don't put stumbling blocks in the midst of those who are already fallen. You know they fallen. Don't put nothing in front of them. But when they come to your page, you don't know that these people are already fallen. You don't know that they're seeking pages where they can get on here and pretend they in one, and really they on the sideline trying to find judgment. That's why they ask many questions way on the deep end. Let me tell y'all an example. When the Father came to me, and this is beautiful here. When the Father came to me as a young person, he said to me, I'm going to be your teacher and your teacher only. As a young person, I didn't know what that meant fully. You know, I was like 18 and 19. I didn't fully know what that meant, but I started laughing. I was in a place where I was a chef, and I was laughing. I was a chef even then. At least that's the position I held, and that's what I was getting paid for. Okay, because I started cooking when I was 13. Okay, and when he had gave that to me, I started laughing like Sarah laughed when she heard that she was going to have a child. She kind of laughed. That's how I felt. You're going to be my teacher. Why? Because I knew that I do things that was unusual. And what was that? I asked questions I already knew as a young person. Not a man or a woman on this earth could answer. I knew that. I already knew that. But just you got to understand, he had been dealing with me since I was like 4 years old. So therefore, I was asking questions to the higher power. In the sense of asking man, letting man and woman know that since you want to stand on the pedestal and represent my Father, can you answer this? Never can not one person, as long as I live, can say that Sister Deborah came in the midst of me and challenged my words, or charged my words, or buckle up against my words. Sister Deborah ain't that type of person. And like I said to you all before, Sister Deborah is the type of person who wouldn't even ask nobody for nothing, because I'm a giver. I was created to give, not take, or desire to be given unto me. I look for heavenly blessings versus worldly blessings that vanished, that rust, and that is hated in giving and in receiving it. It's hated, especially to give. So let me tell you, when I was in between 18 and 19, when he said that to me, I got up and I started laughing because it was so loud in my spirit. I had to laugh. So what the Bible was saying is, Deborah, you ask questions that I love to answer. See, you ain't asking questions to man because you know already man can't answer. I do, y'all. I do. He said, so if you ain't asking it to man, who are you asking? I'm asking the Most High of heart. And he knew it. So he said, I tell you what, I'll be your teacher. I have the answer for you every time you ask me. But you just tarry. Just tarry and wait for me to give you the fullness thereof. So I am a type of person that take heed to the voice of the Most High or higher. Am I perfect? I'm a long ways from it. Am I'm the best? No, never claimed to be. Now, people out of their emotions and their offense and being offended will make you set it up. Oh, she thinks she know this, she did. But that's good. That's good. Because everything that stands in this Bible, it has offended the whole world. The Bible itself would offend me and you at the same time, because it's coming with spirit and truth and righteousness, and our flesh cannot embrace righteousness nor truth. You see? So therefore, the other day I came out with a message, and I'm going to give you the fullness of why I came out with that message, because I knew an ear was hearing, and I wanted to put it out to the air. Because it's, if the higher brought it to me, I was all about putting it out there. Okay? Putting it out there so the ear can hear. I'm not going to go back and forth in emails, texting, and all that. I'm not going to play that rodeo game. I'm going to put it out in the air and let the air take it where it needs to be. And if it take it to the hearts of emotions, feelings, flesh, let it be. That means it's speaking to many outside of the one that I was really want to lay the foundation on. You see? So you all can know what prompts Sister Deborah to bring another spirit and truth message, because all the scriptures was put before you. I didn't offend you. The word did. And because in your heart, the word matched you to the T, you got offended. And that's what the word is about. Offending. The word is there to offend. Once he can offend you, cause you to break and fall, then he builds you back up. But if you cannot find and accept that you have been offended, and your flesh got the best of you, and your feelings got the best of you, and your emotions got the best of you, you stay down there. See if that word will bring you any further than where you've been. Because it won't. That's the truth of the matter. The Bible will break you just to make you. And that's a good thing, because he has broken me many times. And like I sit here and say to you all, when he spoke that to me, first thing I applied that to was who? Me. I think he was chastising me. He was disciplining me. And you know what? Sister Evelyn had no problem with that. I fixed me a cup of coffee and I sat at that table. Okay, Father, I'm ready to hear your words. So I see you put on my spirit, offended. Talk to me, Father. And before he was able to talk to me, I began to look up offended in Hebrew and in Greek, and found it to be a word that means don't put a stumbling block before an individual that they may fall. Why? Because they already fallen. So why are you going to put something there that's going to make them stay down or keep falling? The word of the higher has to be separated from that offending. That's the thing about it. Because a higher's whole word is offensive to the world. And it offends the world. That's why do you think the X and I's or the fake Jews have an issue with the ones that say they real Jews? The moment the ones that say that are the Jews say anything to the fake Jews, what do? Get offended to the point they start trying to kill you. You see how deep that is? Because they don't believe in the Bible. They don't even believe in Yeshua HaMashiach. So if you, the true Jews, speaking these things, which is true, the X's and I's, whoever they call them, the fake Jews get offended to the point they'll try to kill you, like they have done many. So you see the difference in that of being offended? People are offended to the point of killing people. People have been on this devil platform on Facebook where men have killed women because they are offended based on what the woman has said. Should she have said something on Facebook that would cause one to have that type of heart, even if that woman's got his children or whatever? It's because this is how level of how wicked you are in your spirit. I mean, not in your spirit, in your flesh. Your flesh will override your spirit and get you to emotional and feeling and everything to be moved. So as the Father was giving me this this morning, I went to the table, and the table was where my word was. I turned on my laptop, I turned on my phone, and I began to search, and all of a sudden I got my coffee and I started to embrace offending someone. And the Father allowed that coffee to waste and says, "Oh, did not I tell you you running in the right lane?" Now, running in the right lane don't mean that you are right all the time, or you are perfect and you don't do wrong, or you don't say wrong. He's saying that when you run your mouth, I am there with you. I am there with you in that race, devil. And if you've given someone not only the words I've given you, and then you turn around and show it in scriptures, and they can take it only into be offended because they caught up in their emotions and their feelings of their flesh. And how you want me to let you know that's wicked of the wicked, child, in case you didn't know that. Many people don't know that, but it is. It is the most high level of wicked anyone can step into. Because a man can get offended because a woman said she broke up with him on Facebook, and he go over there and kill her on nationwide internet. So you can see he killed her. And her babies and his babies are sitting right there because they get offended. This is what offended set up in your flesh. Wicked and evil. So if you get offended by what Sister Deborah is teaching and speaking, you need to be offended. But you need to stay on your level of your flesh. Stay out the way of the one that's spilling words for spirit and truth. You can't handle it. You can't claim to have spirit and truth, and your feelings and your emotions is always out of whack. Every time, not just with Sister Deborah, but with everybody. Everywhere you go, oh, my phone is getting hot. That's why it's turning a different color. Everywhere you go, you get offended. Among your family, you offended. Among your friends, you offended. Every place you go, you offended. You offended if you go out in public. You offended if you get on YouTube. If you offended if you do anything. Anything causes your emotions and your feelings to be offended. So you fall under being offended, and that's the worst of the worst, you guys. Because you being offended meaning letting you know your flesh overrides your spirit. That's what it means. It means your flesh overrides your spirit. Let me give you an example again. Look at Sister Deborah. The moment the Spirit gave me offended, I went and assumed that he was talking to me. You offended some people, Deborah. You did wrong. You said something to them you should not have said. Even though when I went into the bathroom, he was pretty much telling me on the overall side, he was saying, but you spoke the word. You got it out of the biblical. But when I got into the kitchen, I was still hung up on myself. Oh, I offended somebody with what I said. Oh, I hurt somebody for what I said. Until I sat down and started to find Hebrew offended and start to meditate on that. That coffee went all over the place. And that stopped that thought pattern. Ahaya stopped that thought pattern right then and there. And I had to clean up all that stuff. But when I cleaned it up, guess what? As I was cleaning it up, the Most High started to deal with me. Started to tell me what is spirit and truth. The spirit and truth of the whole matter. is that when I gave you that word, it's for you to sit and study it and dig in where I'm about to cause you to dig into. See, I took it and just assumed, okay, I claim it. See, Sister Deborah was just going to claim it on her own and lock it up in her. And he said, what you going to do that for? Didn't I tell you you in the right lane? Anytime somebody get offended by anything you say, it's because who they are themselves. They forever getting offended. He said in the community, everywhere they go, they get offended. Everywhere they go by somebody saying something or somebody doing something. They always got to talk and get offended. They're offended around family members. They're offended by their neighbors. And anybody they deal with, they're always offended. Because their emotions, really, they live by. Their personal opinion of their flesh, they live by. They don't live by spirit and truth. So Sister Deborah is going to bring an awesome message this evening. And it's going to be beautiful. And I might, I'm not sure, let that stand tall onto the mountain. For many out there who think that they're going to use their emotions, their personal opinions, and their feelings of their flesh to try to stand and speak on behalf of what Sister Deborah is teaching. Furthermore, I tell you another thing. I don't owe you nothing. Where people get off feeling and thinking, I owe them my ear. I need to listen to what they got to say. I need to hear what they got to say. I got to feel, I got to hear their emotions. Mentally, you got a mental condition. You seriously got a mental condition. Because Yah himself wouldn't even want to hear what you got to say out of your ugly mouth. So therefore, keep your mouth to your mouth, connected to your flesh. Because on this side, Sister Deborah ain't going for it. So Sister Deborah, will be bringing a message in spirit and truth. Shalom and shalom.